Today's program is part of bringing awareness about the monarch butterfly, as well as to teach you how to draw and appreciate nature and art.
I'm Janice Edgerly-Rooks from Santa Clara University. I am an entomologist and I specialize in the evolution of behavior. And so we're standing here so that you can see one of the aspects of this open space is that the plantings, they're encouraging native species, native plants, and we've actually had a tour here before, right?
Mm-hmm. And pollination.
The butterflies and the hummingbirds rely on these plants, and here's the monarch right here. And one of the important things about the butterfly is that it is unique for North America. It's a migratory species, and it makes it completely unique. It's a unique phenomenon to have butterflies that spread all through North America, and then they funnel down to a couple different places to overwinter, and they're famous for that. I wanted to pretty much concentrate on the life cycle and also what's going on with the interaction with this plant, the milkweed plant, which there are many species of milkweed plants. So we're going to look at some. So let's see, I'll start. I always have pictures because we never can be sure. Actually, we can be sure that there are not going to be any monarchs here today. So can you see this okay?
Yes, a little closer maybe.
So what we have, Edward made this up for us, is the butterfly lays her eggs on milkweed leaves, and there are lots of species of milkweed, right? And here's the egg, you can see that. There's the little caterpillar hatching, and it goes through a number of molts. Here's the striped pajamas that I mentioned. It's feeding on the leaves, and we're gonna look at some milkweeds in a second. And then it pupates, so you know this is classic complete metamorphosis, right? Here's the chrysalis, which is the pupa. We don't call it a cocoon. We call it a chrysalis. So they don't have silk or anything. And here's the adult that emerges, and then she flies. And they'll take multiple generations in California before the winter, and also up into Canada. There's a different population. Here's the beautiful adult. You can see her here. These are the milkweed flowers. There are a number of different species. There's an orange one and the pink one. So maybe you've seen them. And we're going to look at some fairly pale pink ones today that they've planted all around here. Okay, so let's take a look at the plant. We're going to walk a little bit. You know, I wanted to show that at Yellowstone, they're planting milkweeds all over the place. So can we look at over here? I don't know if you can see. Wherever there's a stake, there's a milkweed plant. And that's one of the key things with this species is that they require milkweeds. And as I'll show you as we go through the conversation about the adult butterflies, is they're having a really hard time finding their host plants now. Not only do we have climate change, but we have big agriculture taking a major hit to the milkweed plant. So we're going to go over here where we can get closer to milkweed. They're really interesting plants. So as an entomologist, I always talk about plants, even though entomologists study insects. Let's talk about the plant, right? There's this incredible relationship between the insects and the plant. If you think about it, and we've talked about this before, that herbs and spices and all those chemicals, pharmaceuticals that come from plants actually have evolved with their because of the interaction with herbivores, that a lot of these chemicals are poisonous and also interfere with the ability of insects to eat the plant. But there are associations between certain insects that have evolved with the milkweed and can take advantage of it. One of them is shown here. This is the milkweed aphid. So I don't know, you had to zoom in on that, didn't you? Mm-hmm. It's that little orange, those little orange dots. That's the milkweed aphid. They can handle the toxins that are in the milkweed plant. And on top, can you see the bug? Is the milkweed bug. It's orange and black, just like the monarch butterfly.
Let's go back to the aphids and you hold it.
Okay.
For a second there. And let me zoom in.
So you'll notice that the aphids are orange, the bug is orange and black, and the monarch is orange and black. There are also beetles, which we don't have here, that are orange and black, which is a warning sign to birds that the insect itself is toxic. So they feed on the toxic milkweed and they sequester the compounds for their own defense. Do you want to see the bug now?
Yeah.
So the milkweed bug feeds on the seeds. So this is the adult, and they're looking for mates. They're They're actually mating yesterday. And then the little nymphs will be here later on in the season, and they'll be feeding on the milkweed seeds. So, okay, so I wanted to show you something about milkweed. Do you know why it's called milkweed? I'm sure somebody knows. I'm gonna break one of the
A weed that gives off milk, a milky substance.
It does. So if I break this, look at this. Let's see that in my hand.
Come closer.
You see the white?
Oh, cool.
It's latex. I mean, that's what it's called. I didn't make that up.
Anybody has any questions, just unmute or
That's all
put
right.
them in the chat.
There it is.
Oh, it's sticky.
Now the latex is sticky, and it does give them their name, like you said, right? Milkweed. The latex gums up the mandibles of the insects, and it's one of these interactions again, coevolutionary arms race. So what the insects do is they trench the veins. And so I'll show you what the caterpillar does. I have a picture of it because we don't have the caterpillars here. We found this in the wild, actually. We went on a hike and we found huge leaves. This was the hills nearby have a milkweed that has big leaves, and it was just dripping with latex because there had been some animals chewing on the flowers and breaking the stems. And so what the caterpillar does, here's the monarch caterpillar, is it cuts all the veins and all of the milkweed, all the latex drips out, and then they feed on the rest of the leaf after they cut the veins. And beetles do that too. They like cut the veins, let the latex drain out, and then they eat the leaf. Pretty clever, huh? It's called trenching. And that's the monarch caterpillar. So they can handle that. But this is the other thing they have to handle. Cardinalides. This is called cardiac glycoside. It's a poison. And so the plant is also poisonous. So we've got two things going on, right? Gum up the mandibles and then poison the animal. But the monarch can handle it. The monarch butterfly and the milkweed bugs. This is the cardinalides. Can you see that? So the height of the bar shows how much they have in their body. So the seeds are packed. The milkweed seeds are packed with poisons. And these are the bugs. They're actually here today. Look how much is in their body. They are very toxic. They're more toxic because they eat a lot of seeds. And that's why they have this color, like the monarch is warning all the birds, don't eat me. Because and one monarch butterfly, some of them are so toxic that if you ate it as a person, it would stop your heart. That's how much of this alkaloid is. It interferes with acetylcholine, the neurotransmitters. So here's the leaves, and here's the caterpillar. So the caterpillar ends up looking just like a leaf in terms of poison, and all these other creatures too. So that's it, boy. These things are poisonous. Now in California, what's interesting is, and it's true all over the world, there's these milkweed plants vary in how toxic they are. So in California, some of the monarch's caterpillars are on milkweeds that aren't as toxic. So if you were to take the leaves of this one into the lab, you might find it's not very toxic. But in other places, like the ones coming from Canada, the ones going up through the center of the country are very toxic butterflies. So all along the East Coast, don't eat monarchs. If you're starving, try something else. Okay. Right, Edward? Yeah, so I wanted to show you the cool thing. You see that? We have two major populations of monarchs. West of the Rocky Mountains, they overwinter in California. So they go out, they go into the mountains, and climate change is really having a bad impact on them. Drought. This is the major part of the monarch species in North America, and they go through what they even labeled it. So I just got this in the mail. By the way, the Environmental Defense Fund just sent this to me. I thought, well, that's a good coincidence. So the Corn Belt, that's the problem, is they are using herbicides, and they are just taking out the milkweeds. And so what's neat is, so they keep going up generation after generation, and in the fall, boom, they go to Mexico. And some of them go to Florida and overwinter, and then our population goes to Santa Cruz, but they've been decimated. So This is really scary. I'm sorry to scare you, but this is what they have on the back of that map. All of the drawings, the pencil drawings, are that's the population that used to be. And the butterflies at the bottom, that's all we have now. It's very scary. So you can see at Yellowstone, they're planting milkweeds everywhere, but in the country as a whole, there's this group, and they actually had this poster at the entrance to Yellowstone today that the Monarch Watch. They're really working. What are we going to do? You know, we have to get together. So there are major groups trying to figure out what to do, and the milkweed plant is one of the answers for sure. That's what's happening. You know, we talk about the butterfly, but the caterpillar, it's the caterpillar. We've got to have those babies, you know?
I just want to point out the importance of Yellowstone Natural Area, you know, as a resource for the monarch butterfly. They do have, you know, volunteer opportunities here. And Janice is going to point out some of their efforts of some new growth.
Yeah, look at it all. The flowers are really beautiful too, and a lot of animals do use the flowers, right? So this is a really great patch. The butterflies are known for their migration. There are a lot of animals that migrate, right? Turtles, birds, and they have these incredible sense of time and place. And they found using the butterfly, and I know this is a little pixelated, so I found this online where you see the head of the butterfly is magnified right here. Do you see the antennae?
Let me zoom in.
You see the antennae? These are the eyes. Here's the brain. What they're showing there with that little wavy line is a clock. They have circadian clocks, the molecules for the circadian rhythm in their antennae, which is shocking to me, in their brain. And you see the little compass here and the sun. So they have a sense of time, they have a biological clock system, and they have a sense of the seasons, and they have a sense they know where the sun is. And a lot of animals can do this. They use what we call a time compensated sun compass navigation system. And people figure this out by painting out the antennae, painting out the eyes, you know, and they find that they can disrupt the ability of the monarch to find its way. What's really interesting is you can take them into the lab and you can give them a fake time. You can turn the lights on at certain times. You can change their clock. So it's like having jet lag, right? So they gave some of the butterflies jet lag. So they had a 6-hour shift in their clock. It's as if, I don't know, they're in France instead of Massachusetts. They have a 6-hour shift in their clock. And so these were the normal butterflies here. They take them outside and they figure out where they're going to fly. And this is in the autumn at 10 o'clock in the morning. Here's the sun. They fly southwest. They know it's 10 o'clock in the morning. They know where the sun is, and they know how to get southwest. You take those time. Yeah, these are the Mexican ones. They go from Canada. I've seen them in Maine where they funnel through Maine on their way to Mexico. It's really interesting. So the time shifted butterflies where they have a 6-hour shift, they are 90 degrees off course. The sun moves 15 degrees an hour through the sky. And so 6 hours off times 15 degrees, 90 degrees off, they actually fly predictably 90 degrees off. That's how the scientists figured out they're using the sun and time. You mess with their time, then you show them the real sun, they think, oh, okay, what time is it? Oh, I know what it is. And they go completely wrong. The other really cool thing, if you think about it, sometimes you can't see the sun, you would agree. They have a magnetic sense. A lot of birds do as well. Some birds can see the magnetic field with their right eye, which is like, what? So we have I don't know, we don't have this sense. We're not aware of this one, but we have magnetic fields. They have all these directionalities, and the animals can perceive it. And they found if the butterfly doesn't see the sun and you put Helmholtz coils on his head and you reverse the magnetic field, they go 180 degrees wrong. So by using some sort of mechanism to shift or to change what they're perceiving, you can show that they're using the magnetic field. This is a normal butterfly going south, right? They want to go south. This one had Helmholtz coils in the lab, they try to fly north because you completely move the magnetic field. I think this stuff is really fun to figure out. How do these butterflies get where they're going? Because it's that fall generation that takes off to go to their overwintering sites. Now here in Santa Cruz, when we first moved here, there were 100,000 butterflies at Natural Bridges. And now, how many? I mean, you don't even see them. I mean, there used to be just dripping with clusters of butterflies. So there is a major movement to figure out what to do. I mean, not only climate change, drought. I mean, I have some good friends that studied that. They could see that the milkweed plants were really reacting to climate change and drought, and they saw this happening to the monarchs here. But it's also happening all over North America, both populations, east of the Rockies, west of the Rockies. So, you know, you can look for different groups that are working on it. Environmental Defense Fund just sent me a huge packet, like when we came right before I had to do this. You know, we need help with this.
Yeah,
and planting the milkweed, and they're asking people to do that. So some of Edward's cousins are doing that, planting milkweeds in Canada. But you know, it's the center of the country that's really had the major effect by having herbicides throughout big agriculture.
I have
That's
a
it.
question.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. Have you run into, when we were on a virtual walk and also when I was actually there at Three Bridges, Joseph, who explained to us that there were also scrub jays were learning how to eat the monarchs by ripping off their wings?
Yes. So remember I mentioned that the milkweeds vary in toxicity?
Yes.
A lot of the milkweeds in California have very low toxicity. And so this is not true in the East Coast, by the way. All those butterflies are toxic. Of course, there's a bell curve, right? More and less toxicity, but they're all toxic. In California, there's a subset of butterflies where the caterpillar grew up on non-toxic or very low toxicity milkweeds. And the chickadees too, the chickadees and the jays, the Stellar's jay, I think it's struck there too. They sample the butterflies and they can taste the bitterness in the wings, and they'll just discard that one. But they'll pick out some in California. They're like, oh, wait a minute, this one tastes good. And they eat it. Now, it's also true in Mexico, by the way, the black-headed grosbeak and the orioles do eat the toxic butterflies. But then they have to go consume clay, which is like eating tums. Getting rid of the toxins. They have to go away for a while, but this food is just so rich and so concentrated that they're willing to take that hit of feeling sick. But in California, definitely, some of the butterflies you can eat, and the birds have figured it out.
so we will be partnering with California State Parks in about October, because that's the time to see them if they are going to be there. I know this last year was rough, but the year before that, again, we had some fusses, but it was nothing compared to the historic numbers. So look out for a community hike in October with Saved by Nature and California State Parks, where we'll be going to at least learn about the monarchs, but hopefully we will get to see something. And it's a really fun event where we dress up in costumes and things.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah, keep our fingers crossed. Keeping our antenna crossed.
There
Okay,
you
so
go.
Or your charcy.
now we're in the beautiful shade. Should've.
What's the
And,
temperature there?
I also want to encourage people and just say that, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you got to plant an acre of milkweed. And I don't know the science behind that and if it's about making a sustainable thing, but I've planted milkweed outside of our visitor center. And we've had, caterpillars and chrysalis and monarchs, afterwards. And it was just a small amount. And so even if it's not, I don't know the science behind that. And if you're, making a sustainable ecosystem for them and all, but it's really fun to watch their life cycle, in front of in your backyard or your front yard. And at least, I don't know. I mean, I would think that it's helping them a little. I mean, if they're completing their life cycle in your backyard or front yard, as opposed to not. So anyways, whether it be for fun, I think it's a good thing to do.
We got a few kids with the crayons getting ready to start
All
painting
right.
the butterfly now.
Right. So
I
everybody
can
get
see them.
pencil.
They're
No, I'm
getting
not
fired up.
I'm going to draw using ink so that you can see it. I'll first try blue, and I'll see if your feedback is that you can see this, so that when I draw with my black ink on top of that, I can correct lines, mistakes that I've made with the lighter color. So let me know if you see the blue, and if not, I'll switch to red. And if you can't see that, I'll just draw with black. But it's my idea is to make my mistakes in a lighter color and put my final lines down with black. Of course, you would have an eraser. And this is sort of like my version of having an eraser. Okay, so after I've done that, I'm gonna paint and add the color. But basically, I'm gonna be drawing first. So that's all you need right now. Some drawing materials, and some paper. Okay, so with that, I always start by drawing the largest thing. And so the whole butterfly has to be framed to fit it on the paper without losing the antennae or the wingtips. So I want to make sure I have enough space for everything. So I think, how big is this butterfly? And what are the proportions? So the butterfly is a rectangular frame, would fit it all. And that rectangular frame is about twice as long as it is high. So that's how I'll start. Okay, I want to have see if, John, let me know if this shows up. I'm going to have a box twice as long as it is high. So about, let's see, right here.
That's fine. It shows up great.
I'm really glad to hear that. So I think I might want to make it a little fatter. First mistake. And that's what we're doing. This is approximation. We're just approximately getting the butterfly the right size and then adjusting and adapting as we go along. Okay. The next thing is to find the middle. All right. So the middle is going to be right there. And that's where, of course, the body of the butterfly is going to be. Okay. We're going to have the shoulders down a little bit because the wings are going up. So I'm going to start, say, about 2/3 of the way down, or about 1/3 of the way, sorry, down, or 1/4 of the way down. And then I'll go up to the corner with the wings, arcing up like that. So that's going to help me find the top edge of the wing. I'm going to have the body of the butterfly there. And now I have room for the neck and the head, the eyeballs. This is where you'll have the proboscis, and the antennae are going to go out like this. Cool. So I'm just roughing it in. That'll be about the size of it. Okay. And then coming down from there, from the thorax, the wing is coming down at an angle of about 45 degrees. So I'm going to go out like that and go out from the middle of the thorax down a little shallower, but about 45 degrees like that. And so I have the midpoint between the two wings, and I'm going to find the outside edge of both wings at the same time, so then I can rough in the curve of the wings. It's going to be something like that. And again, this is just preliminary. I can change this. But by boxing everything in, by doing everything, judging everything according to how it looks next to what's next to it, and sizing it based on the proportions of what's next to it, that's going to make it easier for me to make it more accurate. Okay, so again, I'm going to sort of mirror image that over here, bring that lower wing outer edge there like that, the margin of the lower wing, margin of the upper wing curving in and back up.
Okay, so you stop.
All right, so is everybody getting this? Anybody have any questions about finding out where things go? Here's the body of the insect, the abdomen, and it doesn't go quite to the end of the wings.
Okay, so you're
gonna Anybody have any questions, or should I wait for you to catch us?
wait for them to catch up.
Okay, so this is a fairly quick technique, and you can see that I haven't missed anything. Everything's fit into the page, so it's a very important technique. It guarantees if you're drawing a bird or a dinosaur or anything, a platypus,
Madeline, that
I
looks
have
really
everything
nice.
fitting in. A couple things here. I've already seen mistakes as I stand back. So I can adjust and adapt this thing now. I can see that this wing, perhaps the gap here is not big enough yet. So I'm going to bring this line in here. I can see that the width of this wing is a little too wide right there, so I'm going to bring that in. I'm just adjusting it. I'm going to bring the wingtip up and curve that. Bring this wingtip up a little higher, like that. And I like that better. And I'm going to bring this gap wider there. So I'm adapting it to what I see is going on in the wingtip. And you don't have to be exact. You know, the butterfly, of course, is unique in this individual. Okay, the head, and then the proboscis is like the mouth part that comes out and goes in, and they sip nectar through it like a straw. And the neck of the head there, attaching to the thorax, and then you have the abdomen with 10 segments. So I'm going to go right in the middle here and say 5 segments on each side. So I'm going to put 1 in the middle there and 2 on either side of it. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 in the middle there, 2 on either side of it. So now I'm starting to add some of the details very slowly. Hi. And I can go around and see how everybody's doing very quickly. As I'm drawing, I'm looking, how big is this wing compared to this wing? And they're about equal at this point. See that? About equal. So that's right. Is this right? Yeah, that's about right. And I have a fair eye for that, but it's an unusual shape. Both of these wings are very different. And getting that eye for it is important. Okay, now the next step is venation. So this is how scientists would designate each of the veins. So they're clustered into groups, and on the top here, like we can consider this the arm, this vein in the wing. The heaviest vein is at the fore edge of the wing. Think of that like the arm of the wing comes off all these fingers at the top. So these are called the radius veins, and they radiate at the top like that. And then coming off of the forearm, like feathers on a bird's wing, would be the median veins and cubitus vein falling down. So the median veins go out and down a bit, and the cubitus veins fall down. The last one is called the anal vein. Other than that, you have a loop of veins in the middle of the wing from the body out to the middle of the wing. Okay, so I'm going to draw that now, and then we'll add all these radial, medial, cubitus, and anal veins on top of that, okay? And I'm going to do that in red so you can see it. All right? So from here, you have that one heavy vein, the heaviest vein taking all the brunt of the wind hitting that wing, coming out along the top edge of the wing like that, right out to the middle of the wing there, okay? And that's going to create the top edge of the cell inside the wing. And then you're going to have cell returning back to the thorax like that. So each of these wings is going to have a cell. Okay, the bottom wing has a cell too, and it's closer to the body here. And then looping back to the middle of the wing, like that. So those are the cells, okay? That might be a little large, so I can cut that down just a bit, okay? That's beyond the middle, okay? Now, from there, we're gonna go the same system, the radial veins going out along the top, sticking out upwards. Then you have the medial, cubital, and then down here the anal vein. Okay, radial veins, you have one major radial vein going out to the edge of the wing like that. And then coming off of it, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the radial vein. And then you have medial, Now, so I think this one's too far down. I'm gonna put, that's medium. And that's gonna be important to get a fairly accurate gap there. Pivotal. And then down here, way down here, the anal. Okay. There we go.
There you go.
There I go. I've done this before. Sorry.
So one thing is, sketches are sketches. They're not perfect.
Right.
So
So yeah, don't be too fussy right now because it's going to be fairly quick. I have to do it fairly quickly.
oh, that was a
That's a squirrel.
no. Yeah.
Oh, there's a
The
hawk.
squirrel is yelling because a northern harrier just went by, very low to the ground.
There he is. There. It's not a northern harrier. It looks like a Cooper's hawk. It's, oh, it went down into this. It went down into that building.
It had a white. It was a harrier.
Well, I just saw Cooper's hawk.
Well, maybe they're both.
Hey, look, it landed right on the fence, right there. Look, it's on the fence. Over by the green box.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
the right of the green
Oh,
box
it's
is a
being
cage.
mobbed.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh,
There
it's
it
being
went.
mobbed by the other birds are whacking it.
That was a Cooper's hawk.
That was.
So we stopped for
They have a
wildlife.
Oh, they have a white nose.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh, okay.
Got up to the
Wait,
eucalyptus.
that was like a big white rock.
Okay.
All right, whatever.
But anyhow, you see there's a system to this, and you'll see the reasoning for the trying to get somewhat accurate with the vein. Mine looks kind of sketchy, and of course that's all right. I'm gonna be painting over this and drawing on top of this as well. But you have to sketch everything into place. You have to make your adjustments, and eventually it gets better and better the more you work on it. And you can always erase. Start over if you have to. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work with black ink to try to work out where my final lines go, and also to work out where these
Your flips.
dark markers, yeah, I have to,
Okay.
where the dark markers and the white spots will go.
Richard, is this your cart?
Okay, I'll hold it. All right, so I'm going to switch to black, and I have various blacks. I want to get one that's not water. I thought I had. Okay. Okay, so this is indelible ink Sharpies. That helps. All right, so now I want to figure out the proper outline of this butterfly. I know the thorax is somewhat furry on most butterflies. I want to suggest that with little dashes. And it's widest at the top here on the shoulder where it meets the wing. And then I'm going to put the wing edge that I like, that I've chosen in. So I'm going to make an arc with my hand using a pivot. From my wrist, I'm going to pivot across.
I call it a Hail Mary.
A Hail Mary and a pivot. So use your elbow, use your wrist, use whatever you can. Those pivots really help. And because I'm kind of cramped here, I'm going to just do the other one, pivoting this way. I'm going to move the pad. There. Okay, that gives me a fairly smooth line. Okay, the antennae are too long, so I'm going to bring the point of the antennae, the club of the antennae right there like that. And I'm going to make it two fine lines. That is my proboscis, my eyeball, my other eyeball. There's the head and the neck. And now that these are big enough for me to fit on those white dots that are going to go there. But that looks pretty good. Everything's getting a little better as I go step by step. The eyes are perhaps too large, but I like it. It's pretty good. And now on the wing edges, I'm going to bring this anal edge of the forewing in on a curve. And then right here, I'm going to go scalloping like this. Using the veins as my reference, I'm bulging around each vein, bringing it back into the little nubbins. Okay, something like that. Same thing here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Curve, curve in. And that's going to be my final line. That doesn't look quite right, but it's not too bad. I can actually do this because I know I'm going to have a little edge on the wing right there like that. And I'm going to have a similar edge on this wing. That's sort of a hairy edge with little white and black spots on there. And the same thing on the hind wing, scalloping around veins. That. Okay. I'm going to try to make that wing run into that. So that's going to be on the outside down here. Okay. So that is my wing. The abdomen, we know where the marks are. I'll just make them black now.
I'm taking it.
10 marks.
That I've already taken them.
Okay. The next step for me is to put in the, so I have all the structure. Everything is in the right place. Everything's the right size. Now what I want to do is put in some of the color pattern. And on the monarchs, they have that black and white and orange warning color that tells somebody, I'm poisonous, don't eat me. And there's some black and white on the outside edges and a big splotch of orange in the middle. Lots of poisonous butterflies and moths have that color pattern. And not just them, but other insects as well. And it's universal. Everybody understands that language. Don't eat me, I'm poisonous.
What was it called again, Janice?
Aposematic.
Coloration, warning coloration.
But the chemical. Start with the
Oh,
C.
that was a cardiac glycoside, is from
Cardiac glycoside.
cardinolide.
And that's what they get from.
That's what they have. They sequester it into their tissues. And actually, there are different types of glycosides. So it turns out the most bitter tasting ones are in the wings, which is great because if the bird happens to grab it, it gets that bitter on its tongue and it will let the butterfly go. So even the individual butterfly doesn't have to be killed for the bird to learn.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What's nice about drawing the butterflies now and getting the structure right like I have is that I can now put in the pattern of colors much more easily using the cells as guides. Okay. And so I know that the top part of this cell is going to have a black, you can see it over here. And then I know that this cell here is going to have a big patch of orange up to about there. And then this one comes out further. Okay. So that's roughly the shape of the pattern on there. And then you have 3 orange marks in the middle of this cell and this cell here, and then this cell up there. Okay. Down here, it's going to be pretty much from one vein to the next at about a quarter of the way, 1/5 of the way out, maybe somewhere to about there. So it's going to go like this. And I know that the black markings on the outer edge are going to be easy to find now. And so on this side, I can just rough those in. And same thing up here. This cell here is going to have a mark like that. A little narrow maybe, but that's pretty good. And then there, there, And now we have these 3 cells. Actually, that one is not quite right. I should have had that one more like this. Okay, so that's going to be a white mark in the middle of an orange mark. And then this one here, white mark. No, there was no white mark. That's going to be an orange mark. Okay, and then an orange mark. It's going to be out here. That's a little bit out of place, that vein, but something like that. Okay, and then this is going to give me the pattern as to where my black marks will be colored. Okay, with the paint. I have paint ready to go. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Black marks all the way out, and then black marks there. That's good. So we're pretty much ready to start laying down paint, but we have lots of white dots to put in yet. Let's see. Here we're going to put a white dot, and white covers 2 veins. White. And then along the edge here, each of these gaps between the veins are going to have 4 white circles. Kind of like a die. A dice with the number 4.
That's what I thought of.
And one last one there. Okay. And so down here, we're going to do the same thing. 2 here, 2 here. So each of these, between each of these veins, these pairs of veins are going to be 4. So basically 2 up, 2 down.
That's the problem with bilateral symmetry. You got to do that again.
2 down. Yeah, but when it's done, it looks fantastic. It takes a while. 2 on this side, 2 on that side.
Everybody's exhausted now.
Yeah, there's a lot of marks. And I haven't painted yet. But anyhow, we're getting the idea. The pattern is something you can replicate, and you can go down from the big boxes in everything to work out where the proportions of the wings are, the proportion of the body, what fits where, and how big it is relative to whatever's there before. So there's a method that you can use. It's nice. And then it looks really cool. In the end, everybody recognizes what it is. Okay, and now over here we have big white spot. We have 3 spots, 1 here and 1 next to it, and 3 white spots over here.
Oh.
Ta-da!
Show off.
Okay, so let's get some paints out. I have watercolors.
Yeah.
So I just
Lots
need to
of
get my
spots.
brushes, my water.
They eat a lot.
All right, so which brush should I use? All right, I want to get the oranges in first, and then I'll put the darks in. All right, so I'll use it. That's too thick. Oh, that's pretty good there. Yeah, we need a big brush to make big marks. So we're going to mix a little orange paint here. Spray my paint. Everybody else, anybody else ready to start painting? We have your paints and we have water. But if you're not, that's all right. I have to get ahead. So I'm wetting my paints, and I'm going to mix up some orange, using reds and yellows.
Why not orange?
I don't have orange.
Great idea.
More paints, more money.
That's
So we're gonna
Color
just come in here with an orange, which this is quite red. It's quite a red orange. And we know that it's going to go over that entire.
Oh, Edward, you have to stand in the thing.
That entire mark there, that entire mark there, and most of this mark, not all of it, okay? All of this is orange. Red, black, and white in nature is warning coloration. Janice would use that term and not even think twice about it. But in nature, it's so common for biologists, it's a given that they have color that they recognize. Even without having to taste it, they know it's poisonous. They know it's dangerous. A lot of wasps that sting are colored these colors. Poisonous insects are often colored these colors as well. And it's a way of avoiding being predated and a way of avoiding poisonous food. They know it instinctually. And if they don't, they'll try and then they won't try again. They'll learn it very easily.
Yeah, they learn it easily. That's right. Yeah, those conspicuous colors are easier to learn. We did an experiment in my own behavior class where we had really bad tasting little steaks, treats that we made like little pig worms that we gave baby chicks, and they could not learn to stop trying the green ones and the brown ones, but they learned in one trial not to eat the bad tasting red ones. They couldn't learn to not eat the green ones. Isn't that interesting? And they just tasted bad. I mean, they had quinine in it, and the chicks didn't like it, but
They didn't kill them.
they learned that red one and the orange one really fast.
That's interesting.
One trial.
So their brain is hardwired
That
for
brain
learning.
is hardwired to learn conspicuous colors. Like, oh, I'll remember that one.
All right.
It's the opposite is flowers use colors to show the hummingbird this is a good thing, right? Yeah. So either way, it can be a good thing or a bad thing.
So of course, the next step would just be to put on the dark coloring. Now, as an artist, I'm automatically thinking, what's the undercolor for this? And this black could be a blue black or orange black, and I think it's actually an orange black. So I could have just gone straight in and colored everything orange, and then except the white spots, and then put the black on top. But I'm not going to do that. I'll just put some black on top.
You have to let that dry.
No, it's dry already. It's a little damp. And then I could actually go in and pick, even deeper colors of red if I wanted to, and say do, some.
Yeah, it does have some red.
It does. These are redder marks up here. The upper wing itself, the whole upper wing is actually a bit redder. So this sort of shows a red shadow underneath itself. But the upper wing is a little redder than the lower wing, so the orange is. The lower wing has a yellow or orange in the upper wing. So it's actually quite accurate if I were to just do the whole thing more red orange.
Pretty.
Yeah, so that's mine. Now I'm going to do the black. I'm going to switch my brushes. That was a wide brush for a wide area, flat brush. And I have a pointed brush. It's large enough, but it comes to a point so I can get around those dots. Getting into the dots. And I have to think, what do I want? Do I want to do a blue black? Or it's quite a purpley black in the photograph. So I'm going to do a little blue in my black. But maybe what I can do is just mix it in. Since it's purple, blue and red make purple. Then I can add some black to that. There, that's a warm black. I have some red in the black, some blue in the black. And now I'm just going to go put it on everything except the white spots on this thorax here. It's a white spot there, white spot there, white spot there, white spot there. Otherwise, it's going to be gray and black. So I just start putting in quite a blue black, but it's pretty against the orange, so I'm going to just leave it that way. Once I get that sort of, oh, that's too far. Once I get that down, I can always come back in and put darker marks in places. Suggest shadows. Now, the marks on the outer edge of the wing here, where we have 4 marks in each cell, like that, there are actually 6 marks at the tip here. There's going to be another half mark right there, like that. Okay, so I'm going to do that with each of these. This is all very detailed work. It'll take time. It's recorded, right? So they can just do it on their own.
You have to do the veins in black too, right?
Yeah, you can, yeah. Yeah, once you get this sort of gray, bluish gray down, you can go over and add shadows. And same with the orange. With darker black or gray.
But I mean, the major veins and cells are black.
Not all of them.
Oh,
Yeah, but you're right. That. So that's a 4-wing. Almost complete there. And hind wing coming in. Thank you, Janice. Quite right. Coming. Of course, if I had an eraser, I could erase the blue, but I can't do that with painting. And this is just a guide.
detail work.
Yeah. It was either this or the caterpillar. Really. I wanted to do that caterpillar.
Did you get voted out?
I voted myself out. And I had another butterfly ready to go through.
Another butterfly.
Oh, the butterfly on the flower. And
Oh, good heavens.
The flower was so detailed.
The flower is really detailed. Flowers are, the milkweed flower is very interesting. It has a little trap where the insect's foot slides into the trap, and then they have to yank it out, and then these little bags of pollen get hooked to their feet. Sometimes you'll see a honeybee trying to feed on milkweed, and they get stuck. Have you seen that? Oh, and then they end up with these little saddlebags full of pollen stuck to their legs. And spiders have figured that out, so they sit on the milkweed flowers waiting for a honeybee to get stuck, and then they go and take her out.
Oh, all right. Oh,
Yeah. Life's hard.
I don't think the hind wings have the. Oh, I guess they do. They're just not as dark. But they do have the black, and so do the forewings. That one have the black, and then these will have the black as well.
I guess you're pretty good at this, Edward. Somebody's like, hey, wait a minute. That looks like a monarch. So do you post the recording of the drawing so people can finish it?
Yeah, just so I'll edit it and then post it to YouTube
Oh, wow.
and then add it to our website page
Yeah.
under video.
Hard to keep up, right?
It's hard to keep up. I have to sort of race along
Yeah.
and ignore what everybody else is doing and hope that they're enjoying themselves. That's the main thing, right?
Well, it's fun to watch you do it because just watching an artist do it helps.
And this is, for me, this is just getting the basics down. And then I add to it the shadowing and all that. That's a monarch.
That is a monarch. Wow, how beautiful. See how the hind wings are large? You know, it's the same thing with feet. People make the feet too small. They make the hind wing too small a lot of times.
Right.
The hind wing is pretty broad.
And it's really wonderful if you're just sketching and you're able to just compare the hind wing next to the forewing and check to see relative size. Always want some good reference photographs.
So I'm gonna edit the video from here. Do y'all get that? Yeah, this is, no, I'm working so hard on this thing.
Do you want to? Do you have?
And Leslie's looking at me like this guy.
Do you have a picture? Do you have a picture
How
of
am
the
I gonna
caterpillar?
do the left side? I
Just do the right side for now, and then you can just flip them.
will like do it.
All right, so let us know if you have any questions.
Just
No,
remember.
you turn the pad this way if you want to make a line.
I see.
Then first way that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that tip.
Just have to use the natural logic.
That was pretty good, Richard. That's a great show.
That's what I wanted to do first, John.
No
Oh,
way.
wow.
Oh, geez, Edward.
All those
Okay, yeah, but
flowers.
you know what's nice is the profile of the butterfly.
I like the dots on the body though.
Yeah, the dots are
They're
fantastic.
so cute.
But I thought maybe
look.
flowering would be easier. But then I had all the flowers.
Yeah.
We would come back next week to see that.
And then the other, I really thinking that I had a lot of time to do stuff. I could have done 2 paintings.
Oh, how cute is that?
That is the
Wow.
monarch.
There's the
Butterflies,
oh,
caterpillar.
nice. Remember those? See, you don't want to eat that either.
That's what's missing from the garden right now.
So red, black, white, or yellow, black, white too.
Yeah, those stripes.
All
are
these
like
warning colors, that black and red or black and yellow, the warm colors, yeah.
Nice.
Black and orange.
Cool.
Cool. Very nice.
All right, well, let's sign off. Let's sign off with everybody. So again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Today, we were lucky enough to be joined by some of our Saved by Nature members. Edward's a member of Saved by Nature. It's a pleasure to have them out so they can see what we do. And without their support, our programs would not be possible. So if you're at home, give them a round of applause for making today's program possible. And with that, I hope you learned a little bit about the monarch butterfly. At least, we hope that you learn what it looks like, so that if you see it again, you can let somebody know. Maybe use that Monarch Watch app to report that you've seen a monarch or a caterpillar to help out report some of its population status. Janice Edwards? Anything?
Oh, well, I know. Thanks for coming. I hope, I know you learned a little bit about how to navigate through the sun.
I never knew how they really navigate, and just to see how tiny that little compass in their head is.
The little compass in their head. There, it's amazing.
All righty, Richard, you want to,
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
thank you. Bye-bye.
John. Thank you, John.
Here.
Thank you, Zoe.
Welcome.
Bye.
Thank you.